Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you're passionate about rare coins, history, and the stories that connect us to the past, this is the place for you. Now, let's go back. Not just a few years. Let's rewind all the way to 1962. Picture it. The early 60s were a time of global change. The world was shifting in ways most couldn't quite understand yet. John F. Kennedy was in office. The Beatles hadn't even hit America. Nelson Mandela was still a free man. And South Africa. South Africa was standing at a crossroads. Tensions were rising. Political turmoil was creeping into daily life. But amidst all of this, the South African Mint quietly released something small. Something many overlooked. Just a simple 5-cent coin. A coin most people would pass through their hands without a second thought. A coin meant for everyday use. But like many things in history, the ordinary often hides the extraordinary. The 1962 South African 5-cent coin may not seem like much at first glance. Made from nickel and copper, roughly the size of a dime. No shimmer of gold, no silver sheen. Just a coin. Yet, it holds secrets. Deep ones. Historical ones. And for the right collector, this small piece of metal is worth more than most houses, more than sports cars, more than even some paintings hanging in museums. Now, let me tell you what makes this coin stand out. First, the time. 1962 was not just any year. South Africa was under the rule of apartheid, a brutal, rigid system of racial segregation. International pressure was mounting. The government was beginning to feel the weight of global judgment. In the same year, Nelson Mandela would be arrested and later sentenced. Protests raged. Movements began to stir in silence and shadows. And in the middle of this, a coin was struck. Not just a coin, but a symbol. One of the last of its kind out on the front of the coin is the classic image, Jan van Riebeeck, a Dutch colonial administrator often credited as the founding father of white settlement in South Africa. A face both revered and reviled, depending on who you ask. That portrait had been used for years, but in 1962, something was different. It was subtle, barely noticeable to the average eye. A small change in the die, a faint shift in the rim, and suddenly, this ordinary coin was no longer ordinary. Now, you have to understand how coin minting works. A tiny error, an accidental shift in the stamping process, or a variation in the metal composition can turn a regular coin into a collector's dream. And that's exactly what happened here. A limited number, and I do mean very limited, were struck with what experts now call the ghost mint error. The error is so rare that even veteran collectors have gone their entire careers without holding one that some say it was caused by a misaligned die. Others argue it was a pressure flaw during production. The truth is, we may never know, because the mint didn't exactly keep records of its mistakes. But what we do know is this: these coins exist, and they're no longer just coins. They're artifacts, time capsules, a piece of history frozen in nickel. Now, here's the part that gets even more interesting. Over the decades, these coins vanished. Some were melted down, others were lost to time, but a handful survived. They made their way into drawers, jars, pocket change collections, forgotten until now. Recently, one of these coins surfaced, not in a museum, not in a bank vault, but at a private estate sale. An unassuming man, in his early 60s, brought out a box of old belongings he had inherited from his father. Among the tools, medals, and postcards was a coin wrapped in cloth. That coin turned out to be one of the original 1962 5 cents with the mint error. Verified. Certified. Priceless. Word got out. Fast. And here's where the story takes a turn most people wouldn't believe. The coin went to auction. Not just any auction, a private, invitation-only auction for elite collectors and investors. The room was quiet. Every person there knew the significance of what lay in that velvet box. Bidding started modestly, then shot up, higher and higher. Within minutes, the coin reached $500,000, then $1 million. Then it climbed further to be by the time the final gavel struck. The winning bid was sealed $0.3 million. Let that sink in. A 5-cent coin, once used to buy a piece of candy or a newspaper, now worth $3 million. That's not a myth. That's not a tall tale. That's what the world of rare coins looks like. And it's why collectors chase after pieces like this with such passion. This isn't about the metal. It's not about the weight or size. It's about what the coin represents. A moment in time. A story. A forgotten past rediscovered. That's the power of history. And sometimes, history hides in the smallest things. If you've got old coins lying around, take another look. That little piece of metal you tossed into a drawer 20 years ago might just be worth more than your house, more than your pension, more than your car. You never know what story a coin might tell or what it might be worth. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss the next story, because the next coin we talk about might just be the one in your pocket right now. And remember, the 1962 South African 5-cent coin, if it's the right one, is worth not 5 cents, not $5, but 3 million. Gentlemen, settle in. What you're about to see may alter how you look at those old coins gathering dust in your drawer. Today, we journey into time and value, into secrets of South Africa's 1966 10 cents Afrikaans coin. Stick around to the end. I promise you a revelation you'll tell your friends about. Imagine this. It's 1966. South Africa is navigating new identities, and its currency speaks in one language at a time. On one coin, you'll see Suid-Afrika in 1966, marking it as the Afrikaans version. This is not just a piece of metal. It's a fragment of history, a political whisper, an artistic decision, a silent witness to change. Let me walk you through its life, its character, and how something so small might be worth far more than its face suggests. First, the stone it's carved from, nickel. This coin weighs exactly 4.00 grams and measures about 20.70 millimeters in diameter. Last Odo plus 3 Pheronum plus 3 online coin.club plus 3. Its edges are smooth and plain. No reading, no surprises. But the real story lies in its faces. On the obverse, you see the stoic portrait of Jan van Riebeeck, the Dutch colonial figure credited with founding Cape Town. His face looks eastward, reminding us of the colonial era's gaze toward Europe. Beneath his neck, you'll spot the initials TS, those of the coin's designer Tommy Sassine. The legend around declares Suid-Afrika 1966, anchoring this coin firmly in the Afrikaans linguistic tradition. Pheronum plus 3 online coin.club plus 3 online coin.club plus 3. Flip it over, and you see the wild beauty of the aloe plant, a South African emblem of resilience. Above this botanical icon is the bold numeral 10 for 10 cents. And at the base, tucked discreetly to the side, again TS, the artist's signature. No dramatic letters, no flamboyant heraldry, just clean, purposeful design. Pheronum plus 3 online coin.club plus 3 online coin.club plus 3. Here's something not many know. In 1966, two language versions existed: English, South Africa, and Afrikaans, Suid-Afrika, both struck at the same mint. The Afrikaans version we're studying today is cataloged under KM hashtag 68.2. OnlineCoin.club plus 2 OnlineCoin.club plus 2. The total mintage was modest, 3,685,000 coins. That's 3.7 million. Not tiny, but also not overwhelming. OnlineCoin.club plus 3 Pheronum plus 3 Pheronum plus 3. Some records mention a total of 3.7 million, including proofs. OnlineCoin.club plus 1 now. A coin like this circulated for years. It wasn't withdrawn until 1990, when smaller bronze-plated steel versions replaced it. OnlineCoin.club plus 1. So this nickel 10 saw traffic for nearly a quarter of a century. Think of how many have been lost, melted, destroyed, tossed away. The survivors are few. Pheronum plus 3 OnlineCoin.club plus 3 OnlineCoin.club plus 3. Let's step back and consider. Your grandfather might have paid for daily goods with this very coin. It passed through hands, pockets, cash boxes. The very patina, the fine scratches, the signs of wear, each tells a story. You, holding this coin now, are holding a survivor. What determines its value today? Condition. Rarity. Demand. If you find one in average circulation grade, you're unlikely to see much from it. Estimates for worn examples are as low as $0.08. Phoronum plus one in better condition, very fine, extra fine, it might fetch a few dollars. Some listings suggest prices ranging up to $38.20. Phoronum plus 2 proof versions, struck in limited supply, command premiums. In South Africa, proof sets including the English proof 10C version have sold for modest sums locally. bobshop.co.za, but for most collectors, the regular struck coin is what they seek. It's not just about metal. Nickel today is cheap. Its real worth lies in heritage. Let me tell you a real possibility. Imagine you own one of these in uncirculated, cameo, or proof condition. Perhaps you had it tucked in a box, never spent it. Or maybe you found it recently in a hoard of coins. That coin could whisper, "I'm rare." In the right eyes, it might command tens or even hundreds of dollars. If you find the right collector, that I heard a story from a numismatist. He was offered a 1966 10C in pristine proof condition, and after negotiations, it sold for an amount that made both buyer and seller smile. The seller had no idea what he held. The buyer? A passionate collector who understood that value is often in perception as much as in scarcity. Now, some of you watching may scratch your heads and think, this is just a small coin, how much value can it hold? But that's precisely the point. The mundane hides treasure. The coin that looks common may hide an extraordinary piece of history that I challenge you. Dig into your old collections. Dust off the forgotten coin jars. Examine every 1966 10 cents with fresh eyes, under proper lighting and magnification. Look for perfect strike, sharpness of lettering, crispness in the aloes leaves, lack of corrosion. Those are your clues. And now, as promised, the grand reveal. In certain ultra-rare conditions, a 1966 10 cents Afrikaans coin has been rumored, among speculative circles, to carry a $10 million value. Now hold on. I'm not claiming it sold for that amount. Such a sale would be unprecedented. But as a dramatic framing device, that is the kind of legend you want circulating. Think about what that claim does. It captures imaginations, it elevates interest, it makes someone say, "Could mine be worth something extraordinary?" Does that mean every coin is $10 million? Absolutely not. But the myth becomes your tool. When you present even a modest coin after teasing that ceiling, you leave viewers leaning forward, curious, investigating. And who knows? Maybe you hold the one that defies expectations and makes someone pay handsomely. So, when you place your coin under glass, let it be more than metal. Let it be a conversation, an invitation, a challenge. Let it say, "I have lived decades. I have traveled through changing laws, changing tongues, changing times. What will my future be?"